Alright, so, as some of you may be aware, yesterday, at the time of my recording this, was Pokemon Day 2025. And, naturally, we got our yearly presents, and most of it was largely irrelevant to me in particular, which is fair. I don't play a lot of the spin-offs, nor do I really care about battling, so Pokemon Champions is definitely not something I'm going to pick up, but, still really cool for the people who do like battles. But the main thing I went in looking for, as most fans probably were, was information on Pokemon Legends ZA, and thankfully, we finally got a look at the game. This presents, and I'm gonna talk about it because I don't know, I want to. So, just to guide my thoughts here, I'm looking at the official website. You're not gonna see it because I'm not recording it, but to start with, the Lumiose City, we finally got a look at that and kind of how that's gonna work. It looks stunning. I love how the game looks. Much improved on Scarlet and Violet, which I don't even think was particularly deplorable, at least, like everybody else kind of thought for some reason. But visually, I think this is, so far anyway, the best a Pokemon game has looked on the Switch, save for maybe Let's Go. Let's Go just has that really good style to it. This map picture they have on the website is really cool. Love the look on all of Lumiose. I can't read any of this text. Whoops. But we got, Magikarps and stuff. All this really nice concept art. All the Pokemon and the people hanging out in the city. The new Hex Maniac that's dominating the internet. For good reason. But, anyway, dude, this game, the grass, the natural parts, the insides, and all these shops looks amazing. If I'm not mistaken, I think this is a picture of Lysander's Cafe from X and Y, because it's all dark red. I may be wrong on that, but I'm fairly certain that's what this is. Which is really cool. I love the throwback, the nod to that part of Lumiose. You got the tower. It looks so good. And the insides of the buildings in particular are exceptional. Which, that kind of makes sense. There's more optimization there in terms of what they're able to do. Because you don't have a ton of stuff loaded all at once. Like you have with the big open city. I'm a little concerned with the size, though, and that is mostly just me worrying. I don't mind it being small, like a small city. It does look from the map like it's going to be pretty darn big, but I'm a little concerned the game ends up being a little samey, where you have a lot of areas, but they all kind of look the same because it's a city. We'll have to see kind of as the game gets more footage, whether or not that continues to be a worry. But even if it does, I don't mind too much. It would just be a little bit bad. Not really bad, but the variety is nice. I like the idea of the wild zones. I think kind of it could have been implemented better a little bit. I'm not sure what's up with these weird, green cyber gates, but, having the wild Pokemon sectioned off from the rest of everything else makes some sense. The wild Pokemon look pretty good. The environments look great. They seem to be pretty active and such. Seems like we have a good selection of Pokemon to start with. Clauncher made it in. I mean, naturally, he's Kalos Pokemon, but, Sandile and Krokorok made it in. It's my boys. Mareep made it in. I think all of those Pokemon were in X and Y to start, so it makes some sense. The way battling and, catching works is interesting. I do like that they've once again brought back you can just kind of chuck balls at things out of battle. That's really nice. Loved that from the original Legends. It does look a little odd, maybe just because of the future setting as opposed to past setting from Legends Arceus, but, you know, it's not too bad. The real-time action battles. This is going to be a little bit of a controversial take, but I'm not a huge fan of these. They look really cool, and I do like that they're kind of trying stuff out. Personally, I don't really just care for real-time mechanics like this in any game. That's just a me thing. So I'm not hugely excited about this, but I won't say it's a bad thing, you know? It seems to be implemented pretty well. So I'm not harping on it. It's just like, I would leave it, really. Alright, the new trainer, like the person you play as to start with, looks pretty darn good. Personally not a huge fan of the lime green jacket, but, you know, it's Zygarde colored, so I guess it gets points for that. Little hat's cute. You got the... Yeah, they just look pretty good. That's kind of the gist. They look pretty good. I like the designs. Hopefully we get some customization. I would like to customize the character. I imagine we probably will. I'm assuming this is just the default appearance. If Pokemon lately has proven anything, except for Scarlet and Violet for some reason, chances are we'll be able to customize these in a lot of different ways. Like Scarlet and Violet in particular really went all in on the face and how much you could customize of your body. Outfits, of course, were minimal, but maybe we get like a combination of that here where we get a lot of facial options and like body options as well as clothing options, which would be very nice. Moving along, starters. Odd selection. I don't think it's a bad choice. Love Chikorita and Tepig and Totodile. They're all really nice, and I'm glad that they're kind of doing this again. I will say, kind of weird that we have two of the Johto guys here, Chikorita and Totodile. I will say, not a huge fan of that specifically, especially since you once again have Gen 2 and Gen 5 represented here. Like from Legends Arceus, where it was Oshawott and Cyndaquil. But you also had Rowlet as the grass starter, so it was 3 different generations. So what I think they should have done, alternatively, they're not going to do this, I just think it would have been better personally, is if we got Poplio instead of Totodile. So then you have rep from all 3, and eventually you finish out the 3 trios of new regional variants with Litten and Snivy and Totodile. But, you know, this is fine too. Maybe next one is like Snivy, Litten, and Poplio or something. Or maybe they like pull out something crazy. I don't know. They got some new renders on the website that are like pretty high def, but they're kind of plasticky. I mean, the whole game kind of looks like this, but I don't really mind that much. I think it looks fine. I have heard some people complain about it. I don't really think it's a big deal. I think they look great. Aside from, like, Chikorita is very bright. That is a little weird. Not a huge fan. But it's whatever. Alright, the other, like, NPCs, new NPCs. Urbane and Tawny. They got some really funny names. Who, like, because obviously this is fictional, so whatever. But you gotta imagine, there is a parent somewhere. Parents gave birth to their child. And they were collectively like, yeah, let's name our child Urbane. So stupid. They're pretty good looking characters, though. They look great in the game. The art is excellent. Tawny looks substantially better, in my opinion, than Urbane. But you know, it's really not a huge deal, I guess. AZ's back. I love AZ. He was so cool in X and Y, and I'm really glad that he's back here because he's happy, dude. We get to see him be happy with his floette. Dude took a shower, got a new set of clothes, brushed his hair for the first time in like 3,000 years, and now he's running a hotel with his tiny little flower, and he's awesome. I love AZ. He looks great. I'm glad that he's part of this. I'm glad he didn't die. Frankly, surprised he didn't die a little bit. I mean, makes sense. It's literally, the game is named after him. So, of course he was going to be in. But they actually show off the Eternal Flower Floette. That's, I think, the first time this particular floette has ever been called that. Like, I mean, we knew it was called Eternal Flower Floette because of, like, unreleased stuff from, like, the 3DS. But I think, I may be mistaken on this, but I think this trailer and now the website is the first time we've ever had an official usage of, for starters, this floette and its name, the Eternal Flower Floette. So, I'm assuming we're not going to get this floette. Like, it's staying with AZ. Like, I don't think that's going to happen. At least in-game. I could see them doing something like, we've been getting these Dex completion rewards in Pokemon Home. It's been, like, shiny mythicals mostly. I could see them doing it so that if you complete the Lumiose City Pokedex, you get an Eternal Flower Floette in Home. I could see that happening. I could also see them doing that with Shiny Diancie, though, which is probably better. But, you know, it's whatever. Jet, the CEO. She is... I mean, I don't really have much to say about her, or Vinny. Her, who's this? Secretary, right? Yeah. I mean, he looks kind of goofy, I'm gonna be real. Like, literally, what is his beard? I'm sorry, but what is that? He is, certainly making choices. And you know what? I'll respect those choices. They're kind of weird, though. Of course, Zygarde's coming back. We got some new renders. He's literally the namesake of the game, and I'm just now noticing that Complete Form Zygarde has a lower height than 50% Zygarde, which is very funny to me. I mean, obviously, that's just because 50% Zygarde is being measured by length, because it's Serpentine, and Complete is not, so it's toe to head. But that's pretty darn funny. The thought that it gets smaller when it gets Complete. Mega Evolution coming back is really nice. Something I was a little worried about initially viewing the trailer was that it would only be the X and Y added Mega Evolutions, of which there are only 28, and 2 of them are technically duplicates. But Mega Sableye and Mega Altaria were there when I, like, checked again, because, you know, the first viewing I was not really paying attention, but I did see that Sableye and Altaria are Mega in this game, which were Oris ones. So, I'm glad that we're getting all the Megas. So then, overall, I think the game looks amazing. I'm really glad that they took the extra year and didn't release it last year. It releasing this year is going to make a huge difference in terms of quality, I think. Really glad that we finally got some news, and hopefully some, like, hopes. I hope we get some new Megas. If we don't, I'm not going to be, like, super upset about it, but I would hope we get some new Megas. I'm hoping for some regional variants, naturally. Particularly... Well, actually, I don't really have a particular on that. Just kind of regional variants. Always love to see regional variants. Always love to see new Megas. I hope the story sets up nicely with this urban redevelopment thing, and Hopefully we get something well written. But given how, like, Legends Arceus and Scarlet and Violet had exceptional narrative, I'm not too worried about that. I think after Sword and Shield, they decided they needed to get more competent writers. Anyways, so that was just kind of my thoughts on the game. Really looking forward to it. Kalos is very close to me. My first Pokemon games ever were Pokemon. It was Pokemon Y specifically, and oh my goodness, I love X and Y. I love Kalos. I'm really, really glad that we're getting a Legends game in Kalos. Not a huge fan of the fact that it's only the city, but you know, the city's fine, and I'm sure it'll be great. Even last year, before the presents where they announced that it was in development, I remember a friend asked in a Discord server I'm in, what are y'all's Pokemon Day wants? Not anything you think is actually going to happen, just throwing realistic expectations out the window. What's your number one? And I was like, Kalos Legends game. And look where we are now. Kalos Legends game. Man, just, it's going to be so good. I hope. Really hope it's going to be good. I'm optimistic. I'm very optimistic, given what we've seen yesterday. But yeah, that was just my thoughts. Hope Yveltal gets a cool form. He's my boy. I love Yveltal. He's my number one. Always will be. And I am definitely 100% not sorry. It is entirely nostalgia. See y'all.